Welcome back to Cooking with Mark and Oreo. Today I'm super excited because I'm going to show you guys how to make a TRES Leches cake. Oreo's kind of bored over here because he knows he can't eat any. He's already getting sad. But yes, we're going to teach you how to make TRES Leches cake the easy way, but so delicious. We're going to top it with some homemade whipped cream and fresh fruit. So let's get started. You're going to start with 6 eggs, but you want them room temperature. So I already cracked them, and so I left them out for a while so they're room temperature. I'm going to add them to my KitchenAid mixer. And then you want 2 cups of sugar. And then you're going to help to plug it in. I always forget to plug it in. Then you're going to mix it on about medium for about 6 to 7 minutes. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And we're just going to give it a quick 10-20 second mix. You can already smell the flavors. And we just have our base right now. So now we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have a tablespoon of baking soda. And that didn't come out. Let's give it a little. And then a teaspoon of salt. And I don't know why none of my ingredients are coming out of the containers. As long as you have clean hands, just go for it. Look, there's still some baking soda in here. Alright, then you take a hand whisk and you can just whisk that all together. You just want to make sure there's no clumps in your flour. You want to mix the flavor. Alright, now we're going to lift our mixer. And we're going to add about half the flour mixture. And then we're going to mix that for a little bit before we add the other half. Now before we add the other half of the flour mixture, we're going to add a cup of milk that's been at room temperature. I'm going to mix that a little bit before we add the rest of the flour. You just want to mix it enough so the milk's mixed in there really well. And now the rest of our flour mixture. And again, this is the last time we're mixing. So now we're going to mix that till everything's well blended. And because sometimes you get a lot of the flour mixture on the sides, you want to just take a rubber spatula, scrape the sides, and then do one final mix. Alright, so our mix is done for our cake. So I'm just going to shake that off a little bit so we don't lose any of that mixture. I would lick it, but I don't want to gross you guys out since it has 6 raw eggs. Now you're going to pour it into a 9x13 prepared pan. You can use butter. I use cooking spray just because I'm all out of butter. But butter works best. And you just want to pour it in there, and I also have a rubber spatula for the end. Simple, I guess you could say vanilla cake because of vanilla extract we added. It smells amazing, but it's pretty simple. But we're going to add more flavor to it with the milk mixture that we're going to add when we're done baking, as well as top with homemade whipped cream and some fresh fruit. The flavors combination is going to be amazing. Alright, so now our cake's ready to go in the oven. We have our oven preheated to 350. And we're going to bake it for about 23 to 28 minutes, but I'm going to check it at probably around 25 minutes. All right. So I'll see you in 25 minutes. Hi, welcome back. The cake's still in the oven, so it's not even cooling yet, but I figured I'd make the whipped cream now because that can sit in the fridge while we get everything else together. We're gonna start with a pint of cream, heavy cream. And you pour that right into your mixer. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. A pinch of salt. And a little trick, I ran out of sugar because the sugar from the cake. I made a batch of cookies earlier, so I'm actually going to use a half a cup of brown sugar instead of white sugar, but it should still come out good. And then you're going to mix it for about 3 to 4 minutes with your mixer until you see peaks form. All right. Whipped cream's done, and thanks to my husband noticing I had the wrong attachment to my mixer. As you can tell, I don't use this kitchen-made mixer that often because it's fairly new. And I had the paddle instead of the whisk. But once I changed out the paddle into the whisk, it just started whipping up into whipped cream. So it's not as fluffy as I like it, but it still looks pretty amazing. Hey, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Just like you can make mistakes. There's always ways to correct them. It still tastes pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to a bowl. And this is going to be the topping for our cake. And this is going to go on way after the cake's completely cooled off. And then we're going to top it with some fresh fruit. Alright, welcome back. Our cake is done. Just waiting for the steam to clear out. It's great for the skin. I'm going to grab another. Voila, that's our beautiful cake. It is going to settle, even though it has that little mound. It is going to settle, as we're going to cool it for about an hour. But while that's out, we're going to start on our cream. So let me just grab my ingredients and I'll be right with you. Alright, so now we're going to make the cream for the TRES Leches case. Again, that still has to sit for an hour, but we're going to get started over medium heat. I don't want to put it on until we were ready to go. We have 2 cups of heavy cream. And then we're also going to add a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. That's why it's called TRES Leches. There's a cup of whole milk in the cake already. Some heavy cream over here. Here's some evaporated milk. And then a teaspoon of cinnamon. Which we're going to add some cinnamon to the top of the cake later. And then you want to whisk that all together on medium heat till it comes to a boil. But you want to boil it on medium heat. And then we're going to lower the heat to simmer. Alright, the cream came to a boil, so I lowered it. And now I'm going to simmer it for 2 minutes. I made a little bit of a mess, so I don't want you to see that. So now you just want to simmer it for 2 minutes, and then it's going to come off the heat. There's a couple more steps to it. Alright, it's simmered for 2 minutes. Now I'm going to take it off the heat. And now you want to let this sit for about 8 minutes before we add the rest of the ingredients. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, now we're going to finish up the cream with a can of condensed milk. It's 14-ounce can. And condensed milk is really thick. Well, the counter won't hurt anyone, so I'll just clean it up later. And then another teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you just want to whisk that all together. And that's our milk mixture that's going to go over the cake in about another half hour. And then the cake's going to sit in the fridge for at least an hour before we add the whipped cream and the fruit, because you don't you want to give the cream enough time to soak into the cake. All right, so we'll see you a little bit later. Hi, welcome back. Now we're gonna poke some holes in the cake, and that way we can pour the cream over it. You can use, I wouldn't suggest toothpicks, could be too small. You can use a knife, you can use a fork. I'm gonna use this wooden spoon. My hole's gonna be a little bit bigger, but. All right, so now we have holes poked everywhere, and now we're just gonna pour the cream. You wanna make sure it gets in the holes. And trust me, when it sits in the fridge, it's gonna absorb all this cream. All right, now we're gonna put this in the fridge for about an hour. See you in an hour. All right, welcome back. Our cake, as you can see, soaked up all that milk. So now we're ready to top our cake. My cake, for some reason, has like a deep hole in the middle. That sometimes happens. But look what we're gonna do. We're gonna take some of our fresh fruit. We're just gonna put that in the middle. So it'll be a surprise when we cut into it later. Now we're gonna cover it with the whipped cream. And you wanna cover the whole entire cake. All right, now I have it covered with whipped cream. Some extra for us to lick later. Now I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top. It might come up a lot, but you just a little color, even though we're gonna cover it with some fresh fruit. Cinnamon adds like a nice flavor to it. Like I filled that little hole with some fruit. I have some fresh fruit that I chopped up earlier, some raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries. You can spoon it over. My hands are clean, so I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it on top. I'm just gonna cover the whole cake. All right, now for the taste test. Look how amazing, look how moist the cake looks. Look how beautiful that is. We get a little bit of fruit on top too. That's amazing. What do you think, Oreo? Oreo's licking his lips like he's gonna get some. Maybe I'll give him a little lick of whipped cream. But thank you for joining us at Cooking with Mark and Oreo. Look at how amazing that is. Could serve it on me with that size cake, or just me and my husband. All right, we'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe, like, share with all your friends, and until next time, see you later.